Hello again, my friends. Eric Pearson here with another demonstration of HARDSPACE SHIPBREAKER. Today we're going to dissect a gecko. No, this is not high school biology class, but the next largest size of ship in this game. So as you can see, it's a pretty big ship. Now, I just pulled off a sensor tower. Some of these can be removed from the outside, others have to be disconnected from the inside. Now on this ship we've got some external cargo rails, so I'm going to very carefully cut these off one by one. So kind of like a strafing run, but with my laser cutter. I'll get to these solar batteries in a moment. I don't want to accidentally mess that up. But we've cut these loose, so let's activate our grapple. Whoop. So let's just gently get these going. Some of these rails have panels on them that I can tether to easily pull away. Okay, that's done. So now that these solar batteries are exposed, I can cut them, but I have to be very careful with my cut angle because I don't want to accidentally destroy the batteries themselves. So, slow and easy. There, just like that. Now these go down into the barge. Like so. Now over here, we've got a small antenna. And then we've got another sensor array. If we take a look, these have to be cut loose from the inside. So we'll get to that later. But for right now, just making our way around the ship. Okay, so let's see if I can gently cut these free first. Missed one. Okay, so... Oh, missed one more, too. Nope. No, I did cut it free. Good. Just an optical illusion, no worries. Okay, so let's drag these down to the barge. Oh, careful. Alright, that's done. Now let's cut loose the cargo rails.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
Now, geckos come in several variants. This is the Stargazer variant, which is primarily scientific research. There are also versions of this as a station hopper, carrying passengers, also a heavy cargo transport, and also a salvage runner. Now, the internal layout of all of these variants are different. Some are easier than others. I've chosen to demonstrate the Stargazer variant because the internal layout makes it a little easier to safely remove the onboard reactor. The station hopper is actually the hardest to dismantle safely because the placement of the reactor makes it hard to pull away enough of the right parts to expose it so that you have a clear shot dragging the reactor down on the barge. And the salvage runner is difficult because if you don't decompress the interior just the right way, you can actually create a decompression avalanche where a bunch of stored materials inside just pile on top of you like something out of Katamari Damacy. Alright, so we've removed as much as we can. It looks like our thruster is giving us a little bit of trouble, but we'll still make this work. Alright, so it's time to start taking a look at the inside.
Airlock pressure levels dropping.
Alright, so down we go, and it looks like this door is already open. That's good. So we're unpressurized on the inside for the most part. That's good. That plays in our favor. Now, the interior layout is a long corridor on the side with multiple smaller compartments next to it. For example, here's our onboard nuclear reactor. This triangular assembly here is our power generator. This is not something I've shown you before. This power generator, of course, provides electrical power to the ship. We don't want to remove this until we've dismantled other parts of the ship first. But before we can safely remove this, there are circuit breakers that we have to throw in order to safely remove the generator itself. This is the Environmental Control Unit, or ECU. It provides coolant to the nuclear reactor. We don't want to dismantle this too early because after we've dismantled both the ECU and the fuel system, the reactor will start going into meltdown. It is believed from the online communities that this is a quirk of the current build of this game that may be addressed later in the game. But moving on, let's open up the flight deck. And it looks like we're fully unpressurized, so decompression, thankfully, is not going to be as much of a problem here. And oh look, we've got a medical kit, but we don't really need that right now. And then moving further down here, this is the engine thruster terminal. We can put a master utility key in here and render the engine safe instead of throwing the manual release that is closer to the engines themselves. The problem is, here's another quirk of this build of the game. If I put a key in right now, it will immediately throw the reactor into meltdown. So I want to save that until I am ready to pull the reactor immediately. This, I believe, has been identified as a bug in this game. Remember, this is in early access. I hope they fix this later. Now, let's open up this door. This looks like the crew rest area, and we've got a data drive. We got some audio data. Let's give it a spin.
You ever heard of someone being born with no chance of dying? Well, Kath, I may be the first. There was this book I read when I was a boy about a man who replaced every cell in his brain with nanites, one at a time. A gradual process, of course. Each nanite learning its place in the brain and mimicking that function perfectly. Could such a thing be possible? Well, I've been trying. I'm at 0.2% now, with no apparent loss of function. I think it's working. That's why I need your help, Catherine. You're a roboticist. I can fix my brain, but a new body. That's where I need you. Who knows? Maybe we can save the human race.
That's interesting. AI seems to be a regular theme in this game, and it'll be interesting to see what happens when they flesh out the storyline when they release the next update. So, from below, I'm now up into the crawl spaces between the internal crew area and the outer hull. So this is where I want to start cutting things loose. So, what I'm going to do here is start cutting pieces loose so that I can remove the outer hull in order to expose things like the engines, the reactor, and so on. Now we've got a coolant tank here. I want to be careful not to rupture one of those, otherwise I'll get a massive freezing of certain parts, and I don't want to do that. Sometimes using coolant, rupturing coolant tanks can help put out a fire, but we don't have a fire, so we don't have to worry about that. Here, let's turn on a light. Okay, so let's cut here, and here, and also here. Oh, wow. See, we can already see parts of the ship coming loose, which is what we want. Now, I know in certain of the other ship types, you can cut loose sections and pull them apart almost like a cartridge. But for whatever reason, other people are having luck with that, and I'm not. I'm following the instructions of other people, other videos, but it's not working with me. I don't know why. Now, I've got to be careful. I don't want to accidentally rupture any pipes. For example, right now we're right under the reactor. We have the purple line is the fuel line. The blue line is the coolant line. So for right now I'm going to switch to pinpoint. So we're working further and further back in the ship. I also don't want to accidentally rupture the floor just yet. Okay, very careful. Alright, let's... Okay. This is interesting. A cargo container is here. Was somebody trying to smuggle something? Alright, now as you can see, we've got some fuel tanks here and we have the thrusters. And this lever here, this is a manual, the emergency thruster override. They say, warning, may cause rupture in fuel lines. And this is why I don't like using this. This is why I prefer to use the keys. Because if I throw that lever, one of these lines may start rupturing and spewing flame until you've thrown all of the switches. And the thing is, while you're trying to throw all the switches, the jets of flame may light off the fuel lines or tanks, and then there's a giant explosion, and that damages your salvage and or kills you because you're standing right there. So, like I said, I prefer to use the key. Alright, so it looks like we've done a good job pulling away various parts of the ship. But we still have to move up and do sections in time. Now, remember what I said about the sensor arrays? That's where we are right now. You can see the sensor array on the other side of the wall. I want to cut this loose. I also know that there are fuel tanks nearby, so I have to be careful. There's one more cut point right here. Okay, good. And while I'm here, I might as well make my way out and bring this down to the barge. Okay, good. So that's one. Let's do the other side while we're at it.
Salvage deposit accepted. Credit transferred.
Got one more back here. It's a little tricky. Good. Okay, we've cut loose various points on the bottom part of the ship. Now we're going to work on the top of the ship.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Must be very careful here. Don't want to light that off. And of course we've got fuel pipes right here too. Now let's see, did I miss one over here? No, I didn't. That's good. Alright, so moving along. Okay, there's the nuclear reactor again. So little by little, we're making progress. I know it may not seem that way, but you can see pieces coming loose. So with the Geckos, there's an initial investment of time just getting everything ready to be pulled apart, but then once you do, it moves quickly. So this is pretty good. We'll deal with these coolant tanks later. So let's see if we can move to the outside. In fact, looks like there's a crawl space here. Yeah, we can come... Actually, no, this is the power generator. We don't have a really convenient way to get back in from here, but we do have this... Oh, hey, I missed a part. Let's fix that. That's better. Okay, so let's use the actual airlock to get out of the ship. Okay, good. Okay, so you can see that various parts of the hull are loose. So I'm going to say that this is a good place to stop. So thank you very much for watching, and join me next time as I continue dissecting the Gecko. Eric Pearson, signing off.